All right. I'm streaming for the first time in this subject. This subject is man versus woman or woman versus man, however you want to look at it. I went through a small stint about a year or so ago where I was watching all these. I just call them man videos. Everybody know we call them man videos. We're having a good laugh. It was about men criticizing or critiquing women, not only their behaviors online, but their behaviors in divorce and relationships, everything from gym going influencers to just influencers in general. Um, you're going to see over time, I'm going to repeat myself probably a lot because there's a lot of repetition in these videos. So what I'll be doing is I'll be doing unboxing of videos. I am not attacking any specific influencer or YouTuber. I am, if anything, you want to call it a tech, fine. Be my guest. You're going to call it whatever you want. Anyways, call it. Hold on a second. I have to change this. I'm going to change this title. Title, unboxing man videos, man v women, men v women. There you go. That's what I'll do. I should have done this to begin with. There you go. Done. There you go. I don't know what these videos are called. There's a lot of regret videos, just men versus women stuff, and Andrew Tate garbage. So I'm going to show you these. And as we go through it, I might pause in between. I'll try not to, but I am who I am. I'm going to pause the video, explain what's going on in my own view. And also the commenter, in this case, it's HL Talk That Thought. And I'm going to explain what they're saying and why they might either be correct or incorrect. In many cases here, in the vast majority of these cases, it's a lot of younger women. You'll see this when I deal more with the influencers or the people out and about interacting with each other. In this video specifically, it's more about people that are going through relationships and divorce. It's single ladies. HL Talk That Thought seems to criticize a lot of women that are in cars giving videos about what they're going through mentally and emotionally after a breakup or after something serious happening in a relationship that either does exist or in most often case does not exist anymore. So that's what we're going to be going through. That's what I'm going to be doing. Now, you ask yourself, Mandemic, what do you know about relationships? Well, just like anyone else, I know a lot and I know very little. Been through 2 divorces. I've done a lot. I've experienced a lot. And I say, Mandemic, if you've gone through 2 divorces, then what do you know about relationships? I know one heck of a lot about relationships. And I've also gone through the thought process, going through the entire relationship, including the aftermath of a breakup or a divorce. I had to sit back and think about it, especially after the second one. I was like, what am I doing? Am I going to be Ross off of Friends and just start going through marriage after marriage? No, I've got to be better than this. I've got to lean into my failings. I've got to accept my failings and look at myself first, say, what did I do in the relationship? Where did I go wrong and how could I fix it? Despite what happened, despite what they did, it's not about them. At the point in which I needed to self-reflect, it was about me. It's about what I did in the relationship, how I caused the issues I did, how even if negative came my way, how did I deal with them and could I deal with them better? So that's what I'm doing right now, is giving you my insight, my advice, and what I see as either being right and wrong in these videos, because these videos are seen by so many people. You can see at the bottom of the screen, almost 58,000 subscribers this guy has. He's arguably, I don't know how many views, 990,000 views. 990,000 times this video is watched. There's almost 1 million people, possibly, probably more like 900,000 that have seen this video and possibly are influenced by it. Some hate it, some actually agree with it. For the most part, I want to get to these young men, these men that are seeing these and being influenced by what I consider to be false assumptions and false opinions about what they're looking at, because they don't know. I could tell right off the bat for just watching 1 or 2 of these videos, HL Talk That Thought, whoever the guy is behind it, he's what I would call an adult, but not grown up. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, that's just flat out what it is. I think he has a lot of ignorance when it comes to relationships. It's not that he doesn't know about relationships. He probably knows a lot about relationships. He's probably very clued in on relationships. But again, he only knows relationships as far as what he's experienced. He hasn't gone through an entire life, and maybe he has. And maybe he's chosen just to have this outlook on women. But I would assume HL's fairly young. I would assume, because how his videos are also set, they're set up quite well. I think that he's swallowed the Andrew Tate pill to some degree, whether he likes him or not. He's gone down that road. I think he's slightly ignorant on female emotion, on the female take on relationships, on how women and men are absolutely different in how they handle relationships, how they handle just the normal thought processes of the input that they receive and how they handle it. So saying all of that, excuse me, giving a very big, and I've had too much coffee. I got reflux. It is what it is. Let's go through this first video. Look at this first video as a bit of a new unboxing, not only the video itself and of the subject matter, but of myself and how I do these videos and handle these. So let's start out. The title of the YouTube video is Woman Instantly Regrets Divorcing Her Husband, Women Hitting the Wall. And we will probably talk about the wall on other episodes because it will become more and more prevalent. And this wall that the men say women are hitting a lot of, men are hitting it too. We're all just human. This is very much a human nature thing, not a man or woman thing in most cases. So let's go through this and see what we have. Notice I have not subscribed.
And I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for.
Let's start at the beginning.
And
oh, that is the beginning. All right.
I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for feeling that way, even when you're not together.
Welcome back, family. Today, we will review some more crying divorced women who just cannot seem to understand that the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
What's the one thing you wish everyone around you knew about getting divorced?
Everyone always prepares you that whenever you're going through a divorce, losing your husband or wife, you go through a grieving process, grieving for the loss of your marriage, the loss of your hopes and dreams together. But one thing that they really don't prepare you for is the loss of a friend, the loss of your best friend.
It's true.
The person that you always wanted to tell your day. And
many times this woman's kind of hit it on the head, a major aspect of a divorce when we deal with our family and our friends and even with ourselves. The divorce probably happened because of something big and negative. And one person wants it usually far more than the other person does. But during the divorce, both people are parties in it. And they forget, in many cases, they forget the good times they had, that they were friends, that they did get along, that they woke up in the morning buck naked next to each other and giggling and or watching the other person walk into the shower and their booty cheeks moving about back and forth, and you're just looking and say, that's the woman I love, or that's the man I love, all hairy backed and everything, and it brings a smile to our face. Then we forget. And the divorce, so much emotion, so much pain, so much anger, so much hate, but we forget that good part. And we don't even recognize or acknowledge those good parts when we go through the divorce, because part of the reason why is if we acknowledge that person is good, we might feel that we're weak and we won't have a good, strong attack or defense when we have to basically, through a divorce, keep what's ours, get what we're entitled to, not be hurt anymore by the individual that's hurting us. She put it very well, is we forget and we aren't taught that these were our friends. This man, this woman that is now no longer, we're now on a first name basis. They no longer are what they were. And it's hard. It's hard to realize that your best friend is now very rapidly, if not already, no longer your friend.
Tell, your small wins and your small victories. And I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for feeling that way, even when you're not together and haven't been together. Just having that desire to have them as a friend again.
Just another day and another modern woman making an impulse decision to divorce her husband without really thinking about the consequences.
All right. Now you're going to see how this works on my channel. He just said she wasn't prepared for the consequences. As far as I could see in the video, we don't even know how or why the divorce happened. Nothing. We don't know if it's her choice. We don't know if it's his choice. I mean, unless I missed something in there. We don't know what happened. We don't know who instigated either the cause for the divorce or the divorce itself. He's assuming that she's wrong, just based, let's be honest, based on the fact that she's a woman in this. I bet it triggered him a bit towards what he would consider to be a positive thing, that she might have cried a little bit, or she would look like she was about to tear up. Let's go back just a little bit and hear what he had to say. Let's go back to about here.
Feeling that way, even when you're not together and haven't been together, just having that desire to have them as a friend again.
Just another day and another modern woman making an impulse decision to divorce her husband without really thinking about the consequences.
Because we don't know.
I bet that she was convinced that leaving her husband was a good idea by listening to some divorced guru woman on the internet talk.
He just put up a whole bunch of assumptions. He bet impulse divorce. She went off and found another woman, some guru, some influencer, to tell her what to do. You see where right off, I mean, we're not even a minute and 30 seconds into it, and HL talked that thought. For most of you rational people, for all of you rational people, I hope, but it's not going to be like that. For most of you rational people, you hope that they aren't listening to this. You hope that they see through this as this is just hating. I know it's man towards woman, so it's man hating or woman hating, whatever you want to call it. Either way, it's just human hating. These are the assumptions that humans create about other humans so they can feel happy about the thoughts that are in their head, because the thoughts that are in their head are what they want to act on. And if the thoughts in their head are wrong, then they're wrong. And most humans don't want to be that way. That's why change is so difficult for humans. That's why admitting that maybe you aren't thinking or acting or behaving or talking in the right way is so difficult for humans to do. They will not admit, they hate admitting it. I had to. God, I had to in a lot of ways. Not like this, because I've never been disrespectful towards women as a whole, as women. I mean, as towards other women individually, maybe because, sometimes people are jerks. But I never did it as a continuous thing or as a constant thing towards females in general, just because they're females. So this guy is doing a hell of a lot of supposing right now, and it should be called out. I hope he sees this. It should absolutely be called out. Stop the assuming. You want to do a nice quality video? You want to do a video where people are going to listen of all types, of all ages? You want to get the women involved in this, HL? You want them to hear what you're saying? Speak the truth. Stop the assumptions. Everything you're saying so far, every single thing you said so far is an assumption. An hour and 30 or a minute 28 seconds into this, and hopefully you've lost credibility with a lot of your viewers. At least it's tenuous, because what you're saying, you don't even have a clue about whether it's right or wrong. You're just saying it to feed in those possible 58,000 subscribers that want to agree with this, that want to be mad at women. Gotta knock this off, man.
Talking about how divorce is wonderful. Most women go to the internet not for learning, but to find someone that will validate the idea that they already had in their mind, because deep down, they know that they are not doing the right thing.
Again, another assumption. I mean, we can rack them up. I should put a little tick box. I think once I get more savvy, I'm going to put a little tick box here, the assumption box or something like that. And we're going to tick it every time something is said that has no valid proof within this video, within the context of this video. Oh, muted. Sorry.
They know that they are not doing the right thing. Check it out.
Is there anyone out there in TikTok land that can tell me what you're supposed to do with your life when you've been in a relationship for 20 plus years with the same person? You have children, you have, built a life together, and then all of a sudden that life is no longer. What are you supposed to do with your life? Like, I work, I'm a registered nurse, I have a career, I guess. I have hobbies. I have, a house. I have all the things that I guess you need to live the life, but I don't know how. I don't, like, do you date other people? Like, do you sort of, like, I just don't know. I want to focus on myself. I want to be happy. I want to.
Good. This is for anybody, man, woman, teenager. You in a relationship and it breaks up, take some time out for yourself. Do a lot of looking towards the inside. Don't cast any blame. I know there's going to be a lot of hurt and everything, but when you get to a point where you can settle, where you can say, all right, this is actually happening, and I'm going to have to move on to, at least to some degree, I'm going to have to stop focusing on this, give it some of my time, but not all of my time. That's when you should take a vast portion of that extra space you have, and you need to start looking at yourself. Take time for yourself, not just for healing, but for introspecting, and figure out what part did you play in this. An easy way to look at it is when you have pain, when you have sorrow, when you have something that is either positive or negative in your life, and in this case, we're talking about obviously something negative, lean into it. Lean into that pain and into that sorrow, because then you're not afraid. You're not afraid to handle it. And you're not afraid to deal with it. You accept it as something that's tangible and real that you must deal with. Don't deny it. Don't push it under the cover. Don't save it for your future self. Deal with it now. And I don't mean deal with it like, all right, I've dealt with it, I'm done. No, take your time with it. You know, it's okay to hurt. It sucks, but it's okay. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to cry. It's okay to go to your friends. What's not okay is denying it. What's not okay is having someone else tell you what's right or wrong. You know, women, typical example, you network a lot, especially when there, let's talk about this, when there's a divorce or when there's relationship issues, you'll start reaching out to your friends. Men do, a lot of times they do the opposite. They go inwards. A lot of thinking about it. Women do thinking. They just do shared thinking, you know, social thinking. In a lot of ways. I mean, they do a lot of private thinking as well, of course, but you know, they're not afraid to reach out to their friends. They see their friends as a tool and as a benefit, as an advantage, as someone that can provide, honestly, external information or external opinion, that can validate how they're feeling, that they can help them understand how they're feeling. It's okay to have that. But remember, at the end of the day, you have to make those decisions. You know, your mom come over and tell you all day long that your man's a pig. At the end of the day, it's what you think he is and how he treated you, not what your mom thinks. Who cares what your mom thinks? He might be offering you some advice, but take the advice, remove the emotion. Is that advice worth anything? Is that advice still advice, or is it just opinion? Chances are, in a lot of cases, a lot of people will try to support you. The ones that are closest to you will support you. You're rarely going to find someone that's not on your side, that's really, really close to you. Be cautious of those people. They don't necessarily help you heal in an appropriate manner. Only you can do that. Only you truly can help yourself heal. Let's move on, because I think I'm going off on one.
I want to heal from this whole process that I've been in.
Maybe it helped a little bit what I said.
So I want to live life. Like, I also want to have fun. I don't want it to be all about being miserable and feeling sad and just going through the motions of life because my relationship, my marriage broke down. Like, I just don't want to do that.
You could see it in her face that she's probably further along in the divorce or the separation. I mean, she could easily be a couple of weeks out, depending on what happened, depending on how long they've actually been separated before the divorce. She could be 6 months out. You know, the divorce, I mean, by her tone or by her words, the divorce has happened. But this could very well be someone that's 3 or 4 months before the divorce. They've been separated for so long, or he's been so horrible, or she, depending on if this is, you know, a guy in front of you. She looks like she's ready. I think she's talking about it because there might be a little bit of, I don't know, best term, survivor's guilt, that she knows that divorce over, but she's never been through it maybe. And now that she's feeling happier, she wants to talk about it because she doesn't know if she's supposed to be feeling guilty. Is she feeling guilty because the other individual is still sad? You know, there's a lot to this. And I know HL, maybe or maybe not, is going to say something about it without absolutely any other information than the microscopically small amount of words that this woman is putting onto this video. So let's remember this as we go on. Let's hear what HL has to say.
Anymore. I want to be happy. I want to move on, and I want to just find joy in life again.
I know that most of you just wanted to jump on your screens when you heard the infamous phrase, "I just want to be happy." Trust me too. It's the same story over and over and over, again and again and again. It's all about me, without even knowing what they really want. But then
It's fine not to know what you want. As long as you know where you're at. It's okay not to know what's in the future, not to know what's in the path ahead of you. As long as you have a stable you, as long as you're secure in who you are, even if you're not 100% on the decisions you're going to make or whether you're doing the right thing. If you're secure that if I don't do the right thing, I know I can deal with it. Or if I am doing the right thing, I can recognize it. Or if I'm not doing the wrong thing, I can recognize it. This is about her. They're divorced now. She must. It is me. I'm sorry, but everybody in a relationship, they're not in it for any other reason than one. You're in a relationship for one reason. Now, while you stay in the relationship, that starts spreading out into a lot of different reasons. You're in a relationship because you're selfish. That's not a bad thing. You want to be happy. You want to be happy. You want someone that completes you. You want someone that's pretty, that's on your shoulder. You want someone to be able to hang the shelves and go rake the leaves and lift the rocks. You want someone that's going to provide you children, whether you're a man or a woman. You, me. That's what relationships start out with. That's why people go out and search for partners, search for husbands and wives and those to marry. Me. He's using it as a negative. It absolutely is not. As part of human nature. It's why we procreate. It's why we marry. It's why we divorce. It's why we go out and buy carrots instead of celery. It's why we do every single thing we do, because we are a selfish, all creatures are selfish. They're there to survive. This woman's doing the right thing. Again, HL, let's put another tick on that invisible box of garbage that, that comes out of people's jobs, their opinions. So let's see what else he's got to say.
Then they get shocked when the ex-husband move on with his life, like in our next clip.
My husband fell in love with my best friend. Now ex-husband, ex-best friend, but they fell in love. It's now been 4 years, and I wanted to share a very important lesson that I learned. The people that are meant to be in your life will be in your life. Nothing will stop them from simply being in your life. If it's so easy for someone to leave, then they were never truly meant to be with you long term.
All right. Here's a little bit here. It says it's been 4 years since their divorce. Some people take longer to really get over it. Maybe she, like myself, has learned a little bit of philosophy, and she's been able to acknowledge and link that into her past and her life. And now she's providing wisdom that she didn't have before. I mean, my first divorce was, good Lord, 98? No, 2000. My second divorce was in 2016. I'm a bit of a distance away from those divorces. I'm still learning. I'm still figuring things out. I've done a lot of stoicism lately. I know men's stoicism, but stoicism is a good thing. It's very man logic. It's lovely, and it is not based on whether you're a man or a woman or what. It's just good way of thinking. So I learn a lot from just stoicism and how to be a calmer person, be more insightful, be more logical, more analytical and critical about the information that I receive from other people in my relationships, especially with my partner. So this one's 4 years. So obviously she's thinking about it. I think about my past relationships all the time. They're part of who I am. And when I meet someone and they've acted in a manner that my ex-wives have, okay, I get that. I understand that. I see where that comes from. Or, other people do the same thing. That's weird. Or they just did the same thing to me that those two ladies did in the past. And am I still behaving that way? I got to think about that. Is that a way I want to maintain? Do I want to continue to behave that way? Oh, she puts in here, even though it's written on screen, then they were never truly meant to be with you long term. See, that's a whole lot of metaphysical fate kind of, that stuff that just muddies the waters as far as there's no, they're meant to be with you, not meant to be with you. If you were meant to be a good person, wouldn't you always be a good person? Or you're a good person now because in the past you weren't a good person and you learned how to be a good person over time. Basically, you turned in from a child to a teenager to an adult and to a grown-up. 18-year-olds, they're barely adults, and that's only legally. Honestly, I personally believe a lot of 18 up to 25 years old are still children. Not in a negative way. It's just they act and behave in childish ways. And I don't think any adult, proper adult, would disagree with that. But that's just life, and we have to raise our kids up for quite a long time. Then you become an adult, both legally and mentally. And that's usually somewhere between your early 20s to mid 30s. Then, I'm speaking specifically for men here. Women, I think, do it slightly earlier, just differently. Men, we're usually growing up at around 35 and above. Now, there's a lot of adult things that we have to do. We're not really grown up until then. These people here, what she's saying here about it wasn't meant to be, that's not grown up think. That's adult think and children think. Now, I'm not dissing her in any shape or form. What I'm saying, though, is grown-ups don't believe that it was truly meant to be this way or that. I'm with my partner now, and we get along fantastically. I have never been more critical. I've never been more honest, more straightforward, I've never drawn more lines across the sand than I have with this woman here. And when she finally figured out what I was doing, she realized that I wasn't being disrespectful to her. I wasn't being crude. I wasn't wanting it just my way. I knew what was right and what was wrong. I knew what was my way and what was not my way. They are two different, right and wrong, my way, not my way, not the same thing. But the one thing she finally figured out after she let her defenses down is I demanded the same thing from her. You draw your line in the sand. You tell me what's right and wrong. You do all these things. We weren't meant to be. There was no fate that said that we had to be together. I spent a vast portion of my adult years making the mistakes and the successes to be with the woman I'm with. Does that guarantee that it's going to work? Nope. I'm going to give it my damnedest, and I'm going to do it this way. This way, I've never been more correct. Right and wrong is one thing. That right and wrong is for debates. Correct is for life. What I mean by that is, because a person is right, because a person is wrong. I know I should probably be doing this on another video, but I'm in. I don't have anybody in my chat, so I'm not boring anyone right now. Let's look at a debate, like a high school debate, like a school debate. One person debates that brown is the most popular color in the world. The other debates that blue is. Right now, out of the debate comes a conclusion. That conclusion is who debated better. The person for brown colors or the person for blue colors. Now let's say the person for brown colors won. They're right. Right because they won the debate. But they're not correct. They don't have to be correct. This isn't about correctness. This is about right or wrong. Okay, what is right? That's something that could be built into a law. You know, society says, hello, Cariano. Cheap viewers on streambo.com, remove this space. I don't have my chats up streaming at the moment because this is my first time. I want to talk to people, see if there's spam or see if there's not spam. So at the moment, until I start getting a following, I'm not going to have a lot of people on here. But it looks like Coriano MA, cheap viewers on streamboo.com, remove the space. Oh, is this? It's probably spam. I don't know. So as I say, yeah, right and wrong and correct. In the debate, the brown colored supporter was right. Blue color supporter was wrong. Now, I'm being very loose with this ideal, but understand. But that doesn't mean they were correct. In real life, outside of the debate, there could be more people in the world that prefer blue. It's the person that preferred brown. They argued better, and that's how real life is. Right and wrong is not the same as being correct. I tell my son, he's 13, I say, I would prefer you to be correct in life. I prefer you to be correct in life, not necessarily right or wrong. Being correct means that the path you take is repeatable and you understand it. You know what it is. Because if you're right one day, you might not be right the next. Why is that? Because the person you're talking to here might want things a certain way, but then when you go over to this person over here, it doesn't work that way. So how can you do the same thing and be right here, but not right here? Now, what we do is we say, well, it's just how life is, not everything works for everybody. All right, so what would the correct thing be? Correct thing would be, obviously, it's like, what do you like? This is how I've done in the past. Would you like to move in that direction? And if they say no, say, what direction would you like to move into? See, that's more correctly. You're not picking the color like we did with brown or blue. We're picking the direction. What color do you prefer? And how would you like to paint this? I know I'm kind of going off on one, but the point is right and wrong is not the same as being correct. Being correct is what everybody should be striving for. Sometimes correct looks differently, but it's still the same. I don't know what's going on. All right, so let's go back to this woman. Never truly meant to be with you long term anyways. I don't buy in that because there's nothing you can do about that. It's just extra stuff. Come up with excuses on why things are the way they are. You don't need excuses. You just need to figure out why things are the way they are. and saying, oh, fate just said that it doesn't person have to be. No, absolutely. That makes no sense. In this fact, when it comes to things that aren't true or things that are just opinion, I would tick this in her box, not HL's.
Anyways. Also, I see people begging people to stay in their life. You really want someone in your life that you have to beg for? No, thank you. And if you're really fighting for someone to stay, don't you value and respect yourself enough to just let them go? I know that divorce is really hard, and I know that sitting in the loneliness is really hard, but it's way better than begging and pleading for someone to see your worth and your value. You are worth so much more than that, and I hope you see that. So from one heartbreak to another,
she's right on that one.
I see you and I love you.
You have to move
It's
on.
amazing how these women will always try to play it cool.
Even if you have to stand still, let me get out of this. Even if you have to stand still, it's better than moving backwards. And begging someone to take you back is not the right answer. You have to give them their space. You have to give them their time. They already know who you are. And it's going to take a hell of a long time for them to be convinced that you're someone different than what they think you are if you've changed or if you've become a better person. Or it's going to take time. And the best thing you could do is give them their space. Be there if they need you. Don't force them to be there for you.
As if they are not jealous, hurt, and bitter. When they
So from one heartbreak to another, I see you and I love you.
Okay, she doesn't see you. She doesn't love you. That's just a way people do to make themselves feel better. And it's weird. Just don't do that. That means nothing. That just adds schmarminess to your overall thought. Men would come off of that. Say, oh, well, what do you mean see me, love? That's no, it's silly. Don't. Just let's stick to facts. Trust me. You could be dry and factual and absolutely get back what you lost, to gain your self-respect, to become a better person, to deal with relationships better. You don't have to bring in all the extra emotion. There's a lot of emotion already enough for everybody. You don't need to add extra stuff like I see you and I love you. You don't even know who the hell you're talking to. You're just looking in a screen and hoping it gets likes.
It's amazing how these women will always try to play it cool as if they are not jealous, hurt, and bitter when they see their husbands moving on. But you can see the anger and disappointment through her.
There's no anger. There might be a slight bit of disappointment, but who wouldn't be disappointed that they no longer have the person that they love? They're their best friend from the lady earlier. Who wouldn't be disappointed in that? Everyone would. HL.
Just in case you want more affirmation on how her life is miserable, I went through her page,
It's not.
and here is one of her latest video where she admit on how miserable her life really is.
He said, we're going to watch a video and how she admits that how miserable her life really is. I've seen this portion of the video, not all of it, but I've seen portion of it. So I'm better prepared to help you with this, help you along with this. Again, he says she's going to admit she's miserable. I'm going to have to break this down in a few pieces, but I'll try to make it simple and try not to get on my pedestal anymore.
So there are some crucial things that people don't talk about after you go through a divorce. The fact that the quietness and the emptiness in your home when you don't have your spouse or your children is deafening. You have to really get comfortable with being alone, and it's very uncomfortable.
She's explaining facts. When you're in a house full of noise, when you're in any space full of noise and you go to a space with no noise, you are thrust into full awareness that this is not what you're used to. This isn't the same as what you're used to. You are in a different space. The way you think is not catching up to your current environment. That's all she is saying. Right now, yes, there's going to be some emotion behind her words, but she's being very analytical about it. And he's going to try to turn this on her. I'm going to hopefully stop you from believing in what HL's saying.
You quickly realize that you are now the center stage of all conversation in your friend group.
I don't know about that. Well, that could be true, but I'm overly dude on this one. I could care less. People want to talk about me, and I'm not trying to be brave just for this screen. It's dead honest. I could care less. People want to talk about me. I'm me. I'm always going to be me. When I wake up in the morning, I think about me, about what I'm going to do. Sometimes I think about my friends. A lot of times I don't, because I got my own life to live. If people want to talk about me, fine. If people want to come up with conclusions, fine. When they come to me, If they ask me these things, I'll be square with them. No, it's BS, or yes, that's true. And I don't, because I've grown up, because I went through the adult phase. Now I'm in the grown up phase. I have learned to stop caring about things that don't matter. This woman right now is just spitting facts at the moment. But her friends group thing, she's got a little growing up on that one to do, but I don't really blame her for that. Most people still care about what other people think. It can be a blessing and a curse.
Because you're now living this wild and fun life because you're no longer attached to anybody. And I don't know about you, but I spent a lot of my time crying and eating pizza and drinking.
Crying, eating pizza, and drinking wine in the bathtub. Except for the crying part, which I've done a couple times when I went through the divorces. I've done a couple times. I did that in the privacy of my own home. But oh yeah, I became, when I went through my one of my divorces, I consciously became an alcoholic for 6 months. I was drinking, making sure the bottles of booze were all around the house. Now I had a family history of alcoholism, and so I was very aware of what was going on. And I'm not promoting this in the slightest, but I knew what I was doing. I knew why I was doing it, and I knew it was a temporary measure because I didn't like being in it. But it was the only medicine I had at the time. And it was a lie. That's a lie. What I'm saying right now is an absolute lie. I had no other way of, I wasn't capable at the time in my own headspace to do anything more with it. The answer is, were there options? Absolutely. But I couldn't choose them. So it is what it is on that one. About 6 months later, like I thought, like I was planning, I came out of it, fully responsible with booze now, could care less. I just don't care one way or the other. So what's she doing? And pizza, who doesn't love pizza? If I'm miserable, I'm not going to eat misery food. I'm eating pizza. I'm eating smash burgers. You know, I'm having meatloaf. I love meatloaf. Meatloaf sandwiches, cold meatloaf sandwiches. Don't even get me started. We got to get back on this. But yeah, she's fine. She was crying. Again, let's go back to what I said towards the beginning of the video. And I will say on probably every single video, women cry. It's how they release their emotions. It's healthy. If I was dealing with a woman that never cried, if I had a friend and she was going through divorce and I never once saw her cry, never once saw her getting emotional, either he was an extremely horrible, abusive man or woman, or she's got something wrong. She's about to kill some people. You just don't get it out of women. That's not a sexism thing. That's just an observation thing. Women, I'd almost say women need to vent this because it's how they vent. It's like fish need water to breathe, men need silence and space to contemplate and to come to terms with what's happened in their lives, some traumatic things. Women cry. Nothing wrong with it. I fully promote it. When my woman cries over whatever I've done or not done, I know it's for multiple reasons, and I let her have it. I still give her a hug or I give her her distance depending on what she wants. I allow her to cry, and I tell her, please cry. And she'll apologize. Women like to do that. Say, oh, I'm sorry for crying. No, you're a good man and you see your woman crying, she tries to apologize, you stop her and say, no, I don't ever need you to apologize for crying. You absolutely, that's what you want to do. I support you.
Drinking wine in the bathtub. Being single is glamorized in today's society, and people are saying, yes, good for being single, and you should really, really just enjoy it. It's so freeing. When really you lost your purpose because you've been supporting this person for X amount of years and supporting their aspirations and their goals and their dreams and their desires, and you lost yourself along the way. So now it's beautiful. You get to find yourself, but it's hard to sit in that and be like, oh, who the f am I? So maybe be a little bit more gentle on the single people in your life.
All these strong, independent, happy, single, living my best life, women you see on the internet have the same sad story behind closed doors. They are all crying, miserable, lonely, depressed, bitter, and angry women.
Replace the word woman. He just said whatever thing he spewed over the past 20 seconds. Replace woman with man. You got the same thing. We all do it. That's him just hating. And so I don't know how many ticks we need to put in the boxes up there for him, but that's just him hating. You can see in that statement alone, we'll go back through it one more time. You can see in that statement alone, just his ignorance when it comes to relationships and women and how to deal. Now, is some of the things that are happening behind the scenes, is HL possibly correct? Maybe. Truly, maybe. I'll still open it up to the fact that he might be correct on some of his stuff. But he's generalizing it by saying women this, women this. He's saying her or she a few times, but it's women are like this. Women do this. So you see how you automatically should just disregard what he's saying as fact. You can use this as either entertainment or lessons learned on how to not deal with women or your partner or men in relationships or when they're breaking up or your friends. Let's go through what he just said one more time. And I want you to listen with a more critical ear and mind to what he's saying compared to what you've just listened to from this lady and what he's saying.
The internet have the same independent, happy.
But it's hard to sit in that and be like, oh, who the f am I? So maybe be a little bit more gentle on the single people in your life.
All these strong, independent, happy, single, living my best life, women you see on the internet have the same sad story behind closed doors. They are all crying, miserable, lonely, depressed, bitter, and angry women.
Angry, opinion. How many? Yeah, there's 7, 8? I mean, come on. I mean, that's just his diatribe was just a list of easy, lazy insults to throw at women just to try to shatter the idea that women are normal for behaving in a way that honestly he hasn't even addressed yet. He's just bringing up garbage. I mean, every single HL, if you look at HL's site and you go to his videos, go into, his past videos, and you look at all of them are designed exactly the same way with the exact same comments. That's why I'm probably not going to do a whole lot of HLs because you do one, you do them all. So yeah. Not very, obviously I'm zero impressed with this. And I have zero agreement with this person and their take on women in relationships. But I do the same thing about men in relationships. If there's a woman commenting on men like this, trust me, I'd be bashing the hell out of her too.
Not fair! That is not fair!
They want to lead more women astray so that they can all be miserable, because we know that misery loves company.
This woman, honestly, she could have been a dude and I would have agreed with her. She's a woman and I'm agreeing with her directly on how logical the vast majority of what she's saying. She's right. We all going through this stuff. And she's not even saying you women be like this and you women go ahead and, you power women. She's not really doing any of that. I mean, this guy, HL doesn't even have anything on this woman and he's just throwing it in there because, let's be honest, she's got a tits and a vagina. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Don't come after people just because they got specific body parts. That absolutely destroys any respect or insight you might have into the subject matter you're even speaking of, because it's garbage. Now, have I done that when it comes to women as far as the crying and stuff? Absolutely. But that's because that's more of a biological thing versus a physical thing. He's only looking at her physical aspect and her behavior and her responses. And he's giving the most simplified, cheap answer you can provide to get likes and to grow his base. I personally care less what y'all think of me. Is what I'm saying correct? Is what I am telling you correct? Not right or wrong for your beliefs. I don't care about your beliefs. Well, I do. That's actually a lie. That was me being a bit of a jerk. I do care about your beliefs because I want you. Obviously, I'm doing this content for you and for myself. I want you to hear what I'm saying and see the truths in it. See the facts, the actual real life existence, ideas I'm trying to instill in you. That everything about this video, it's a man-woman thing. It's a human thing. It's a creature thing. It's a living thing. It's not us versus them.
And it's sad that so many young women keep falling for their lies. I have a bonus clip for you that shows the consequences of the government incentivizing women to divorce their husbands.
I do divorces for people that, a woman walks out with $200-300 million. He was an analyst at Goldman Sachs who built a hedge fund and then sold it and then used his trading algorithm to build it up to $500 million. She was hot and slept with him for a while and then stopped and started sleeping with other people and playing tennis and having Botox, and she's going to get half. Like, that's incredible. Like, do you know what he had to do to get that? And what she had to, I'll that guy for $200 million. Are you kidding me? Like, that's insane. That's incredible.
Fellas, as long as these family laws are still in place, you're going to have to protect yourself at all times.
This part, at least so far, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Specifically, the American justice system is heavily bent towards women and females. It's slowly getting better, you have to admit. I'm not saying it's all in the pot on this one, but it is very pro-female, pro-mom, pro-woman, pro-wife, whatever you want to say. You do hear about this stuff. I don't know how common it is. I'll be honest. I don't know how common it is, but you do hear of these horror stories that men build up vast amount of property or wealth or influence, and they have to give a lot of it away. What I've just said does not take into account the sacrifices of women in those marriages. But this lawyer, supposed lawyer, I assume he is. I mean, you can probably look him up. What he is saying is obviously one that's more of a, if I was to assume, and I'm going to say that now, I'm going to put this into curvy brackets, assumption that based on what he is saying, the lawyer is giving us a painted picture of a gold digger. I don't know if that's true. I'm not going to say that's true. I'm just going to go off of how he is painting the picture. And many men are fearful of marriage or opening up the possibility of their wealth being taken from them by women that might only care about the wealth. How prevalent is that in society? I don't think it's very prevalent. It happens. It's factual. I don't think it's a huge part of people, of course, because only the top 5% of the population of America is rich, like that kind of $500 million rich. Vast majority of marriages are regular or poor people getting married. I mean, let's be honest. That's just how it is. I will not spend a whole hell of a lot of time about gold diggers because most of us men can't afford gold diggers. I mean, at my salary, with my retirement, if I had a gold digger, I probably wouldn't want to be with her, because how bad do you have to be to consider me gold digging material? It's sad. So I wouldn't want to date a woman that's sad. So yeah, there's that. But bottom line, men do want to protect themselves, even if they don't have a lot, and because they know that the system isn't bent in, well, definitely isn't bent in their favor, but isn't equal. It absolutely, justice is not equal under the law. It just isn't.
These family laws are literally rewarding women for leaving marriages and relationships. When you get married in the West, it's like giving your wife a loaded weapon that she can use against you and get paid whenever she feels like it. So move accordingly. I'm really glad that you made it this far through my video. But I have a small favor to ask you. Over 90% of you are not subscribers.
I will go through this
really
because
find some value,
if I'm going to use most of his content, the vast majority of it, I'm going to let him finish. I think that's only fair, whether I like it or not. Obviously, I hope you do whatever you want to do. Yeah, I'm not subscribing.
in my content, I would really appreciate a sub, like, comment, and share so that we can keep pushing this content to more men. That would really mean a lot to me. That's it for today's video. I'm out. Peace.
The truth hurts sometimes, but someone must say it. Well, hopefully if HL finds that person, he posts them up here, because it sure isn't him. All right. I think that's good as far as HL is concerned. You can find me at Mandemic. Oh, my thing's over that. Let me move that over just a little bit. I don't think I'm showing anything that doesn't matter. Yeah, there you go. Mandemic at capital MANDEMIKC. That's at MANDEMIKC. I'm going to put this on video on YouTube as well. So if you'd like to subscribe, I'd like to join. And this originally is on, I'm streaming this on Twitch. So please, subscriptions. I'm still learning Twitch. So whatever it is that you would like to be a part of, join, like, follow, please. I'm going to do more of these. It's getting to a point I will be doing at least once a week, if not almost daily. I'm going to attempt to, no promises though. All right. Thank you all very much. And I will see you all next time.